friends, I'm Kyla and welcome back to the Infinite Library. So today is just going to be a very quick one. I just very recently, literally only got back yesterday, came from YALC, which is a young adult literary convention set in London in the Olympia events building was where it was set, also in the same building as the Winter Comic Con. So I went there for the weekend. It was my first time going. This is actually the 10th anniversary year of YALC, which was very fun. There was a lot of stuff going on for that. And yeah, it was my first time going and I had a great time. I enjoyed myself so much. I will probably go again next year because it was just a really great, fun experience. I got to talk to so many people. I obviously bought a whole lot of books, which you will be seeing later on in this video. And yeah, it's just a really good atmosphere. This is the second literary convention I've gone to this year, with the other one being Chimera in Edinburgh, which I went to back in August, I think it was now, maybe July, I actually don't remember anymore. And that one was really good too. That is geared towards adult sci-fi fantasy, so a very different sort of spectrum than YALC. YALC is obviously aimed at young adults. You have a lot of contemporary stuff. You also do have a lot of fantasy, some horror, some graphic novels, a lot of romantasy, that kind of thing. And the main difference really, I think, other than the audience between YALC and Chimera, is that YALC has a lot of publishers go there, while Chimera is primarily just panels, possibly a few workshops, I don't quite remember, but mostly panels and signings with the authors. They also have a couple of fun events like pub quizzes, that kind of thing. It's a smaller event for sure, I think, although I really enjoyed it anyway. YALC is very much also more of kind of a merch hall, as well as having panels, workshops, signings as well. It's a very different atmosphere though. It gets a very different crowd, a much younger crowd, I think. Also, you have the Comic Con literally just below you on the ground floor. YALC is in the upper floor, and then the Comic Con is down below, which can also get quite busy. And if you have a ticket for YALC, after the first hour or so, you are allowed to just go around the actual Comic Con as well, which is pretty fun. So you kind of get to have a look at two conventions for the price of one, basically. I didn't really go around the Comic Con much, just because I've been to a lot of Comic Cons. I'm kind of used to what's there, and there wasn't really anything there I'd not seen before. But for anyone who's kind of maybe wanting to see what a Comic Con's like, and wanting to go to the literary one too, then honestly recommend just having a little wander around and seeing what it's like. Though possibly more on the Sunday than the Saturday, because Saturday was really busy, and then Sunday was really quiet. I was quite surprised by that. Obviously a lot of the main guests on the Saturday that we had, the new Doctor Who guy, Nakuti, we had Michael Sheen, we had a couple of other really big guests, I think, on the Saturday, and then a lot of lower profile guests, I think, on the Sunday. So it was a lot quieter on the Sunday. So if you want to have a look around without as much pressure of crowds and stuff, then Sunday is probably the good time to do it. So I'm making this video not really so much as a review of YALC, but as someone that went there for the very first time this year, that is kind of used to conventions but maybe not literary conventions. I decided that I would make a little survivor's guide to YALC, and I guess really to go into literary conventions in general. Not that there's very many of them, but I thought I would take my experience as a relative-ish newbie and share what I learnt from the weekend. I'll also put in a few little clips of my time there. I wasn't actively vlogging, but I took a couple of videos here and there just to show you what it was like. And I will end with my haul of what I got, because I did buy a lot, I also won a lot, and just in general they give out so much free stuff at all of the stalls, which is really great. So yeah, it's really fun. Even if you go with no money, you will probably come away with something, so that's always quite nice. So here are my tips and tricks for surviving YALC. First, make a plan. There is a lot of events going on, a lot of the times happening concurrently with one another, so it's always good to take a look at the schedule, which they do always release online, and you can print it off for both of the days. And what I did is I kind of highlighted, as you can see here, the ones that I was most interested in going to, and then on the back I sort of made myself a little timeline of the day, basically, which just helped me keep track of where I needed to be at certain times so that I didn't miss anything that I regretted missing. But this is mostly just for panels and signings, and I kept it pretty loose when I was there. Like, I didn't necessarily make all the panels and signings. I kind of just went to the ones I felt like doing at the time, but at least I knew when they were going to be, so I could make sure I was going to be there if I really did want to be there. As well as this, there's also various other things happening throughout the day. So there'll be various competitions and things happening on the stalls. They'll do things like raffles and tombolas at specific times during the day. So it's really useful just to keep a track of that kind of thing as well, if it's something that you don't want to miss out on. So yeah, planning is like, you can definitely just go and just vibe, which is kind of what I did on the Sunday. I just kind of like didn't really plan as much on the Sunday and decided to just chill and see what I felt like being. But if there are specific things that you really want to check out, I do recommend looking at the schedule, just making a little list, maybe doing what I did, which is I put a calendar appointments in my phone. So rather than having to look in my bags to find the paper schedule, I always had my phone on me anyway. So I was able just to grab it out, and I set little alarms as well for each thing. So if there were certain things I wanted to make sure I was there for, then yeah, I'd have that just on hand, so I could be like, oh, I've got half an hour until the next panel. I've got enough time to go have a bit more of a wander, that kind of thing. Basically, it really did help me. Like, I am someone that is very kind of like into scheduling and timing things anyway. I hate to be late for stuff. But yeah, I would recommend at least having a look and maybe just earmark a couple of things that you'd want to go to, because otherwise I feel like you can spend so much of the day just wandering, and there's so much that is going on. Like, the panels are really interesting, obviously the signings are really good, and yeah, it's a shame if like you find out about stuff like after the event and you're like, damn, I really would have loved going to this specific thing if I'd realized it was happening. So yeah, that is one of my first things I will say. Next, pack wisely. A lot of people come away with a lot of stuff from this event. Not only the fact that you're probably going there with books to be signed, you're also likely going to buy books whilst you're there, and the sheer amount of freebies that are given out is insane. So I saw a lot of people, I kind of laughed about it before the event, because a lot of people were like, oh, I'm taking a suitcase with me. And I was like, I wouldn't do that because I don't want to bang into people with a suitcase in like a crowded hall. But I kind of see the logic now I'm there, because it is easier on your back and your hands to have a suitcase that you can just put stuff into, rather than having to juggle like a bunch of tote bags and stuff. I also saw a lot of people with these like little luggage things that are basically just like a little wheelie crate that you can just stick the books into. I saw a lot of people using those, and I thought they were really good, although I will say that a lot of people were not careful with how they were using those crates. Like, I actually never got hit by a suitcase, but I got hit by the crates quite a lot. Like, people would just leave them in the aisles sometimes and block areas. And like, when people were like reshuffling their stuff, I got hit by the lid so many times, because the lids aren't firmly attached and they just fall off sometimes when people were walking. So that is my caveat with those. I wasn't really keen on the suitcase or the luggage thing, but I can see how they're really useful for people in terms of like saving your energy and not having to carry everything. I personally just went with a backpack and like a really good tote bag. And I also, which I would also really recommend, make use of the cloakroom. It only costs like £2 to leave stuff in the cloakroom, just downstairs, and they let me go back and like rearrange things during the day. So like, I had a lot of signings in the afternoon on the Saturday, so I just left all of my books to be signed down in the cloakroom, and then like around lunchtime I went back and I swapped all the books that I'd bought for the books that was going to be signed, and just left them there for the rest of the afternoon. So that meant I wasn't having to carry everything around with me all at once. I was still carrying quite a lot, so I would maybe look into the suitcase thing for the next time around, but I'm also just aware that they just take up so much space, and you know, they can get really busy out there. That's kind of my takeaway from that, really, is like, you know, pack wisely. Don't pack things that you don't think you're going to need. Obviously take any books with you that you want to be signed. Make sure you bring, I would definitely, this is the top thing I would say, make sure you bring like water, a drink and some food with you, even if it's just snacks. There was barely any food options available there, which was a bit of a surprise considering I've gone to a lot of Comic Cons before and there is always like a lot of food stalls usually, and this one had like one cafe that sold a couple of sausage rolls and drinks and some cakes, and that was it. It was really limited in terms of what you could get. I thankfully had like brought lunch with me, but I was so glad I did, because yeah, like obviously timing as well, like you'll probably want to eat just on the go, or you'll just want to steal 5 minutes somewhere in between stuff to eat, and obviously the cafe could get quite a big queue. Yeah, I was really shocked that there just wasn't very much in the way of food options. I think there is a water dispenser somewhere around to like refill up your water bottle or something, but it wasn't really well advertised. So yeah, I would say, if possible, try and bring food and water with you, because the options there were not great. And yeah, make use of the cloakroom. Like, if you can't do the suitcase thing that other people were doing, or you don't really want to, definitely make use of the cloakroom to leave stuff so you're not having to haul everything around with you all day, because there will be a lot of walking. Another thing, pace yourself. There is a lot going on all at the same time throughout the whole day. It can be quite overwhelming. You can really get like just stuck into it. I'll keep walking, I'll keep joining things, and you forget to take a break, and then you realize towards the end of the day and you are shattered and no good for anything, or you'll crash towards the end of the day and then it's just a struggle. They do have like a chill out space, which was pretty decent that I saw. It was, however, always full whenever I went that way, so I was never actually able to like sit and take a seat, unfortunately, because there just wasn't enough seating. But there is also lots of spaces around to just sit, which was quite good, thankfully. Like, the whole place was not super cramped. It was spread out enough. There was like, in between stalls, there would be gaps where people could just sit and chill and like sort their bags out and that kind of thing. So definitely recommend doing that. I love the idea of them having the chill out space. I just don't think there was as much seating as there could have been, because literally whenever I went past, it was always full. Okay, next. Get yourself tickets for the guest signings as early as possible in the day. So I didn't really understand the whole system they had with guest signings, and I do actually really like it when it works. And I didn't think it was very well advertised, which was unfortunate. Essentially, rather than how it is at a lot of other things, that you basically just have to join a queue and you'll eventually get to the guests that you want to see after standing for so long, which, if you're someone like me that struggles with like chronic pain and fatigue, can be really difficult to stand for that long amount of a time, usually carrying a lot of heavy stuff as well. They actually did something different at this event, in that you would go and get tickets to go and see a guest, and it gave you a number, which was the number in this like how long it would take for you to see the guest, essentially. So you could be like number 30 in the queue and that kind of thing. I thought there was maybe some sort of app I heard about that you could track that with, but I couldn't find any information about it. And just generally, it wasn't advertised very well, unfortunately. Like, I didn't realise I had to go and get tickets to see the guests, like, until I went to go see my first guest. And then I was told that, no, you can't just join the queue. There is, like, a line that is invisible because it's all via tickets. So I then went and got tickets, obviously. Had to wait like an hour or something, I think. But once you know about it, I think in practice it's a really good system, because it means that you don't have to stay and wait in the line. You can just sit down. You can go wander, you can go do other things. There was a lot of people that would just be sitting and chilling whilst they were waiting for their set of numbers to be called. They'd usually do it in like tens or so, unless there was like a big gap and not many people had like appeared, and then they would like speed through to whatever the next numbers were. But they'd be like, oh, 30 to 40, come up now, that kind of thing. And I think that was really good, because like I said, like, for someone who struggles with chronic pain and fatigue, that was so nice to just not have to be standing in line for so long, to know that, oh, I probably got about 20 minutes before my number will be called, so I'll just go and I'll sit and I'll chill for a bit, or I'll just go to that stall over there, that kind of thing. So yeah, I thought this queuing system was really good. Just needed better advertising, I would say, because I think some of people also didn't know about it. And with the queue system as well, like, it very much is a case of like, because it's first come first served, you want to get the ticket as early as possible to ensure that you get an earlier space in the queue. So like, I missed out on seeing Crystal Sutherland, I think, because I didn't realise, and I got a really late ticket and I had to leave at a certain time, so I just couldn't get those books signed, unfortunately. I mean, that was on me because I didn't know about it and get tickets until way too late in the day, but also, you know, the advertising would have been good. But then you get like really popular authors like Holly Jackson. Her queue was absolutely insane. It was just crazy watching the amount of people that had come there for her. I think the staff were really struggling with it, and I think they did end up having to cut that queue off after a certain point of time, because even though she actually had like a 1-book limit, because she is that popular and she has loads of books, she doesn't have the time or probably the wrist strength to like sign that many. Like, I think they did have to cut it off after a certain point because it was just too insane. So basically, be kind of prepared to at least go and like get tickets for the guests that you want to see as soon as possible, get them, and then you know whereabouts you'll be and how long you have to queue for. But generally, yeah, I did like the fact that you didn't have to just stand in the queue for very long. Like when you were actually standing in the queue, depending on how long people took, obviously, like you would only be actually standing for maybe about like 10 minutes or so, which is a lot better than like the over an hour that it probably would have been. Okay, next tip. Take part in giveaways and competitions. Basically, all the publishers throughout the weekend, so many of them are doing various like competitions to win things, just like freebies, proofs, sometimes actual books, that kind of thing. They'll be timed throughout the day sometimes. They do a lot of like spin the wheels, tombolas. They'll announce a lot of this on social media as well as like on the actual tables on the day. You can usually tell when something is like happening because there'll just be a massive line suddenly form. A lot of people will just see the line and then just join it because they don't really know what's happening, but they know there's some sort of giveaway going on. So they get really long. They can really take up a lot of space as well. And you can be in that line for quite a while sometimes. Although I will say, I think one of the ones that I joined, which was a spin the wheel, I think it was for Hodder, and they were so on it with their spin the wheel. Like I was really far down the line and I was like, I'm okay with waiting for a bit because I'm actually like at a lull in the day and I'm cool to just chill here for a bit. And then the line went so fast. They were so quick, but a lot of the times they aren't. So yeah, just be aware of that. Be aware that the lines can be really long for those and that after a certain point they will cut off, especially if they only have like a limited number of like proofs to give away. They will just cut off the line when they basically have given them all away. And that's that essentially. So it's good to know when those are going to happen, just so you can kind of try and like not beat the queue, but at least join the queue at like a better point in time essentially. Yeah, it's also just a really good way to like go to the event and get a lot of free stuff. I give away some really cool items. I won like a lot of proofs. I won bookmarks and chapter samplers and that kind of thing. And it's also, it sounds silly, but for me, I went to this event on my own, and for me, a lot of the time, I end up chatting to people around me and like making friends with people on the way, because obviously you're all here for the same thing, you're all interested in the same thing, and it was a really nice way for me to just like talk to people and meet people. That, and when I was waiting for the signings, that was also a really good time to meet people. So yeah, highly recommend as well, like if you're on your own, it's a good way to meet people, quite honestly, whilst you're all just stuck waiting with nothing else to do. Also talk to people on the stalls. Everyone that I met in the stores was so nice, and they'll always like be happy to talk to you about what they've got on the stalls, what books they might recommend to you if you're not really sure. Like a lot of the times I would go to a store and they'd be like, oh, what is the type of book you like to read? And I'd be like, oh, horror, LGBT, fantasy, that kind of thing. And they would usually always be able to like recommend me stuff, because there are so many publishers, there's so many books. I guarantee there is a lot of stuff you will never have seen before. Some stuff has only just been published as well. Obviously a lot of the proofs are stuff that isn't even out yet and published. So it's really good for like getting a gauge of what they have to see what sort of things they have might be up your alley. So yeah, I really appreciate how nice all the stall staff were most of the time, how happy they were to talk to you. And yes, they're there to sell you stuff, but also they love books too. Like they're working in this industry and they'll be happy to talk to you about books in general. A lot of the day was how I kind of found it. So I had a really great time, like not only just speaking to people around me, but speaking to people on the stalls too. Here is your friendly reminder to hydrate, as you really should be doing throughout the whole of that event. Okay, on to the next tip. I basically realized I just talked about this one, but talk to people on stalls and other con-goers. If you're there alone, if you're there with friends, whatever, it will make your weekend better. I had so many good conversations with people. I ended up like following a lot of people. I'm really bad at always remembering to get people's social details. Like at the end, if you've been talking with someone for like half an hour because you're stuck in a queue and then you never see them again. And sometimes it's a little bit sad, but I was actually quite good this time with like actually getting hold of social media details, that kind of thing. So yeah, it just means that you can expand like your bookish friend circle if there's not very many people you know in real life that you can talk to about books and stuff. And a lot of the time, a lot of the people there are obviously also into books, but they'll post a lot, they'll talk a lot on social media. So it's a good way to like not only make friends, but also then to follow accounts that have stuff you're interested in. They'll be like talking about new books coming out, that sort of thing. I wouldn't normally go to an event like this on my own, but I wasn't like afraid to go on my own because like it's my kind of thing. I'm chill about it. I can go on my own schedule if I'm on my own as well, rather than having to kind of allow for other people. But I honestly was fine being on my own because I always found people to talk to. Next tip, don't expect proofs or to win everything that you sign up for. You know, a lot of these stalls are giving away proofs. I think some people get kind of upset when they don't win a proof. At the end of the day, it's not like a privilege of you being there to get a proof. It's just amazing if you win one, basically. Like, I wasn't expecting to win anything. I did really badly on a lot of like the spin the wheels and the tombolas, that kind of thing. But when I did win something, it was so fun. Another tip, because this is one that I fell on, I have a Waterstone shop there, which should be selling all of the books for all the authors that are going to be there. Like, obviously I bought some of my books with me, but there was one or two that I was like, I'll buy them when I get there because I know there's a Waterstone shop and I don't have time to get them now. I'll get them there. Buy from them early or risk them selling out. So my story is that I really wanted to buy Tales of a Monstrous Heart by Jennifer Delaney. It's her debut fantasy novel. I read half of it from the library, really enjoyed it. It's such a chunker and I didn't really have like enough time to pick up a copy before I went because I read it so close to the event. So I was like, oh brilliant, I'll pick it up from Waterstones. I decided to not buy it on the Saturday because the signing and her panel wasn't until the Sunday and I didn't want to be carrying around a book that was quite heavy. So I didn't buy it on the Saturday. Cue me going on Sunday morning and the first person in front of me in the queue bought the last copy and they did not have any restock of it. I couldn't get a copy of it, unfortunately. So I still went and met the author and she had like chapter samplers for the sequel, so she signed that for me. And she was really nice, bless her, and she was like, oh, I'm going to another event in Liverpool soon, so hopefully I'll see you there and you'll be able to get your physical copy signed when you get one. But yeah, I was obviously really disappointed that I'd kind of like banked on Waterstones having a copy of the book and I didn't expect them to actually sell out. I don't think they sold out of... Actually, no, I think they did sell out of a couple of things. Like, all the paperbacks I think were fine, but I think any of, like, the really popular, pretty hardbacks, I think they were selling out. So, yeah, just be aware of that if there are certain books that you know you really want, get them early because they will sell out. Also, in terms of like special editions, not so much. Actually, no, Illumicrate did sell out quite fast, I think, of certain things as well. But yeah, if there are certain stalls that are basically people that specialize in making special editions, I think Aisha's Edges, I'll put the description down below. I bought like 3 books from their stall. With those kind of things, they do have limited stock. They will tell you how much stock they have. And with those, I would say don't really wait. If there's a certain thing that you really do want to buy, just buy them there because they won't be there forever. They will sell out, and a lot of the really popular ones, for example, will go like so quickly. On the flip side, however, if you're really wanting to get good deals on books, if you can wait around until maybe around, I think it started around like 2-3 p.m. on the Sunday, which was the last day, a lot of the publisher stores will slash the prices of the books. They'll have been selling them because they're selling them at usually quite a decent price anyway. Like, a lot of the time they're like £6 for a paperback, that kind of thing. And then they start like slashing the prices towards the end of the event because they don't want to take the stock back with them. So they will put ridiculous reductions on some of these books. Like, some of the stores were like paperbacks are £3, deals of like buy 3 for £10, that kind of thing. So if you can wait, if there's like a bunch of just like not special editions, just kind of like regular books that you're wanting to pick up, it's worth waiting until later in the day if you can stay that long, because you are probably gonna get a good deal. I don't know if all publishers do that, but a lot of them I saw did do them. Obviously, if it's a limited edition, like I just said, I wouldn't risk that because I don't think those are the ones that are going to be put on discount. It's going to be all the regular books on the stores. But yeah, definitely worth waiting for that. I think a lot of people tend to like not do their main purchases until the last like 2 hours or so of the event because they know they're going to get a ridiculous discount. Okay, the last tips I have now, and this is something that I was kind of surprised about because I've come from Chimera, which was a panel heavy convention. The panels were always really full, they were really popular. I surprisingly didn't see as many people attend the panels and workshops as I was expecting, and it was a real surprise because there were some really interesting authors, really interesting topics, but I just don't think it really appealed to people that much. I think people were they're more so for the publisher stalls to buy things, to do the competitions and giveaways, which I get, but I honestly would encourage you, even if it's something that you don't know if you're going to enjoy or not, to check out some panels whilst you're there. It's such a nice way to like hear from the authors, to hear from authors that maybe you hadn't really heard of, and that will actually inspire you to like check out their books. That definitely did for me a lot of the time. Sometimes I'll hear like a premise for a book and it won't really grab me, but when I get to hear the author talk about it with a group of other authors, it actually really does give me a feeling of what the book's going to be like, and I think that can sometimes help me influence buying books as well. And this is honestly a great experience. Like, I really enjoy going to the panels. They can be quite long. They're usually like about 45 minutes or something, but it's also a good time to just sit and chill for a bit. Honestly, do recommend it. I was surprised that none of the panels I went to were full, I don't think. And yeah, I just expected there to be more people going, and there wasn't, which was kind of a surprise. Okay, another tip. Similar to the whole, like, schedule your weekend, that kind of thing, check out publishers on social media in advance of the event, because they usually advertise what they're going to be bringing to YALC. They'll advertise what proofs they're bringing, what competitions they'll be doing. They'll also basically post, like, about, like, we're doing competitions at this time of the day, that kind of thing. So that's really good for like getting an idea of what's going to be there at the event in advance, what publishers you want to try and prioritize going to, the competitions, that kind of thing. Also, definitely keep an eye on YALC's like official Instagram page throughout the day. They post very frequently on there with updates, that kind of thing. A lot of it is just like reposting other people's stories, which is nice because you get to like see from other people in the event. But they also post any important updates, so like if a panel has changed time, if an author can no longer make it, that kind of thing. They'll post for like competitions going on, and that's just really good to keep track of what's happening, because they don't really do this at all anywhere in the event. There is no like announcements call, there's no like notices put up, so really the only way you're going to keep track on any changes and updates is via the social media. So my last two tips then. If you can, I actually wanted to wear this very nice cape that I got there, but I couldn't because I realized I can't really put a rucksack on over this very easily, so it'd be a bit awkward. But dress up a bit if you can. It's nice. It is also, I saw a lot of people in costume, which was really nice. Obviously the Comic-Con being downstairs was kind of an influence on that, but it's just nice to like get your glad rags on and dress up a little bit. I found it was like such a nice talking point sometimes, because people would be like, oh, I love your dress, I love your earrings, that kind of thing. And it's a good way to start conversations a lot of the time. Like, obviously dress whatever you want, be comfortable in, but it's nice if you dress up like a little bit, because like I said, it's a good talking point and you feel good about yourself as you're walking around. And then finally, have fun. That's what the event is for at the end of the day. Like, don't stress yourself out and get into every competition, every panel, that kind of thing. Just go with the flow as well. Just make sure you have fun. Stay safe and have fun, basically. I had a great time. I would definitely love to go there again this year. And I hope these tips could help you a little bit with going to any sort of convention, really, not alone just YALC in particular. So I'm going to put a little bit of footage here now that I took during the event, and then I will show you some of the exciting haul stuff that I got throughout the weekend. Okay, on to the haul of stuff I got. So first, I'm actually just going to go through the non-book stuff I got, because that pile is huge, but I also just want to like flag a few of the little things that I got. Some of these are freebies as well, or they were stuff I won in competition. I did do, it was like a competition to get a proof. It was probably one of the easier ones because basically all you had to do was to work out this little like anagram kind of thing, which was very fun, although I was very tired that day, so it took me way longer than it really should have done. But just you complete it and then you got a proof of this book, and they also gave you a little candle here inspired by Where Sleeping Girls Lie, which is bergamot, lemon and basil, which is actually one of my favorite flavors. Smells so good. I love it. That was a really nice surprise. I wasn't expecting that. I love candles, so I just thought that was really cute and a nice little thing that they gave away. I entered one of the Illumicrate giveaways, which was just kind of like not a raffle as such, but I think it's just like a lucky dip kind of thing, and you can get a random item, and I ended up getting this is one of the past Illumicrate box items. I think this is for In Deeper Waters. It's just like, I've got it upside down, like post-it notes, that kind of thing. It's very cute, and yeah, not mad about it because this was actually a box I skipped. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I also bought a couple of things. I was very much in love with this one specific stall. So let me just find their stuff. So obviously like, there'll be some like artists as well that are selling like bookmarks and other bookish merch items. So it was this store which is called Tales and Tomes. I think that is the social media details as well if you're interested. The person that was running that store was so lovely. She was so sweet and her stuff was just so cute. So I got a couple of things from that store. I got this really cute little pumpkin bookshop sticker, very seasonal. This was the first thing I saw, which I adored. It's a magnetic bookmark and it's like this really cute little like Japanese cherry blossom bookmark. And then finally I got a bookmark as well, which is like quite a decent material. She was doing like these kind of like wood inspired bookmark, and yeah, I just really loved the design on this one. I love the little fox. It's so cute and their stuff is adorable, and yeah, highly recommend checking out their stuff if you like bookish merch. It was so cute. I also did some kind of competition, I think, and I ended up, this is actually designed by Alisa's World, who do a lot of sprayed edge stuff, and I actually bought like 3 books from their stall. I bought one of their books and they gave me this as like an additional thing, and it's like these 4th Wing themed pin badges, which is really fun. Also not the only 4th Wing item I won over this weekend, which is very exciting because 4th Wing is like one of the few romantices I actually really like. So yeah, these are really cute. They're just like faction badges. Very nice. And then the other thing I did was like a lucky dip kind of thing on a stall again, and I ended up winning a 4th Wing keychain. So I got this, which is very cute. It says lay or die. Yeah, was really happy about that. I won some really cool things from the events. I also got a whole bunch of chapter samplers. These are basically, I think most of these are freebies. Some of them were ones you had to actually enter giveaways to get, but most were just free on the stalls. And basically what these are, they're usually for books that aren't out yet, and they're just like little chapters to give you an idea of what the book is like, with some nice art, that kind of thing. Funny story about this one, when I was traveling in on the Saturday, I ended up accidentally bumping into this girl and we were kind of finding our own way to the event, was chatting a lot, got on really well. Turned out she's the author of this. So that was really funny. So when I got to the store and I actually did win a chapter sampler, of course I picked this one, which I've read. This is the only one I've had time to read so far, and it's super cute. I would highly recommend. This is a LGBT contemporary romance kind of thing, and yeah, really enjoyed it so far. It's super cute. So yeah, I'll very briefly just go through what chapter samplers I got because I did get a lot, but I haven't read most of these yet, which I will be doing. I've only read this one at the moment, which yeah, highly recommend. Definitely going to be pre-ordering this. I will put the author's details down below in case you're interested. I think this was from the same stall that I got this one. This is like a webcomic, and this one was like, this is really high quality. This is like a little mini properly bound comic book, but it is actually just an intro to them having their proper publication. I believe it is a boy meets vampire, a love story. Don't know anything else about it, but that is honestly enough for me. It is apparently coming out in February next year. Didn't say when this was coming out. There we go, August next year. Other ones I picked up, this one is for The Priestess. which is an Egyptian fantasy, I believe. They had like different variants of this, I think, which I think was just the same chapter, maybe. I don't know, it could have been different chapters actually, but yeah, here we go. This is about ancient Egyptian mythology meets Game of Thrones, and a captivating epic fantasy about 4 strangers entangled in a web of sensuality, deceit, and murder. Don't know when this one is coming out, actually. I don't know if it says anywhere about it. It doesn't. So I guess I'll probably put down below if I can find out when this is coming out, but it sounded interesting, so I picked it up. This was another one that was going out. This is for Unhallowed Halls by Lily Wilkinson. It is I want to say it's a romantasy. It's about a girl called Paige who goes to a boarding school in Scotland, manages to make a close group of friends, but there is something dark going on in her school. Don't know when this is coming out. This is apparently an established author as well. But yeah, there was a lot of hype going on for this one at the event, I know. Also another one that's getting a lot of hype, we had Traumaland by John Silver, another established author of Happy Head and other stuff. His book's coming out in May. This was what I got from meeting Jennifer Delaney, which is a chapter sampler for the sequel to Tales of a Monstrous Heart. You couldn't find this in any stores, I don't think. You could only get this by meeting her, basically, because she had them at a signing. It's coming out in August, though, for anyone that is curious about it. And bless her, she signed it for me. Then we have this one. I honestly have no idea what this is about. This is called The Favourite. It is a figure skating love story. Oh, it's not a Shakespearean one, sorry. This is a Wuthering Heights retelling that reimagines the romance in the sparkling savage world of elite figure skating, and it comes out in January. This was something they had on their stall, at their Scholastic store. This is actually like a little book, which basically just has a whole bunch of chapter extracts from a whole bunch of their stuff that's coming out this year, next year. There's a small list there of all the things, but yeah, thought this was fun. Another one called No One Keeps a Secret by Denise Brown, coming out in the summer from Hashtag Press. I like how it says on the back, backed by a criminally good PR campaign. When 3 teenagers track down a missing chihuahua to an abandoned theme park, they discover a corpse strangled by his own camera strap and find themselves caught up in a murderous investigation. And everyone has an alibi. No one keeps a secret. That actually sounds really fun. I'm excited to check that one out. Another one, this is for the Notorious Virtues, which they were giving away proofs for as well. You had to like do a scratch card thing, which I thought was very fun. And if you got a wolf, you didn't get a proof. If you got a fox, I think you got a proof. But it comes out in March. This has been getting a lot of hype, I think, as well. And yeah, it's just a little... Oh, hang on. Is this a poster? Oh, it is. So you get like the book and then you get like a poster. I also got like 3 stickers of this for not winning anything, basically, which was quite fun. This was from one of the Inspiring Indies authors. I believe she is basically releasing these like little fairy tale retellings via email. This is by Kira Nixon. This is called The Princess is the Witch. And I just thought this was really cute. It is a Snow White retelling. Yeah, definitely something I'll check out. You all know that I love fairy tale retellings, that kind of thing. So yeah, excited to read this one. One more sample we have here is for Witch Lore by Emma Hines. I do know the author, don't remember where from. But yeah, this is a new romantasy that's coming out, giving me dark academia, coming out in October next year. And the last one I got purely because I actually read the first book of this quite recently, which was Young Gothic. As you can see here, this is a chapter sampler for her second book, which is coming out in February next year. And that is all the samplers I got. So yeah, like I said, I didn't pay for any of those. 1 or 2 I think I won in prizes. The rest were just there and free to give away. And yeah, again, a really fun way to like learn about different books and try out different books to see if you like them or not. And I'm not gonna go through every single freebie I got, but this is all freebies. There's prints, there's bookmarks, there's pins, there's all sorts. All this is free. Pretty damn cool. On to the proofs that I very luckily managed to win or was given. All of these I was just super excited about, and I'll definitely going to be trying to read a lot of them soon, just so I can actually give out like advanced reviews and stuff. I think one of these is already released, but the rest are not. From what, yeah, they actually have the dates on the side, which is quite useful. So, oop, don't fall. These are all the proofs that I managed to get throughout the event. I'll very briefly go through them with you. So this first one, which is Spellbound by Georgia Leeton, comes out in April 2025. This was actually just in the YALC goodie bags. So I think everyone, if you got a goodie bag, you got this. It is apparently a feminist retelling of Sleeping Beauty. So consider me sold. This one I won from a competition, very luckily. This is a proof copy of Fear the Flames. This one actually has come out in September 2024. I think it actually had an early release, so I think this came out like last year or a previous year, but maybe it didn't come out like properly. It might have been indie, I'm not really sure, but they did actually have like the proper physical copies to buy here as well, but they were just giving away a bunch of proofs as well for it. This is about a princess who was ripped away from her dragons by her father, and now she wants vengeance, and there is a reluctant allies to lovers thing, found family, sizzling banter, scorching spice, and soul bond with dragons. So it sounds really fun. I love the like original cover for it that I can see on Goodreads. I wasn't crazy on the cover that they have that I saw there, but I really like the original covers. This was actually one of the few books that was already on my TBR to read, so I'm very excited to give this a try. This was the one that I won when I had to do the anagram thing that I told you about, and this is Girls of Dark Divine by Evie Woods. It is an enthralling gothic fantasy laced with dark magic, electrifying romance, and burning rage. So yeah, it's a gripping romantasy, and that is coming out in August. Then this was one that I won as well. This is Needy Little Things by Chanel Desamores. It is, yeah, it's a thriller, YA thriller kind of thing. The police don't help, the media don't notice, her friends won't let her be ignored. I assume from the looks of it, it is about black young children who are going missing. Black women, I think they all are actually. Sounds really interesting. I had a choice of proofs for this one. I think it was a romance, and I was like, give me the thriller, please. This one I got actually just for buying a book on the stall. I think this is Dutton Publishers Stall, and basically they had like a certain number of proof copies there, and if you bought a book on the store you could pick a proof. So I got Pick the Lock, which is another YA thriller. It's apparently an established author called A.S. King, and this is coming out in September, and it is about a girl called Jayne whose mother tours the world to support the family. Jayne goes to school in a Victorian mansion with her younger brother and their father, who confines Jayne's mother to a system of pneumatic tubes whenever she's at home. This sounds, apparently it's a punk opera, a primal scream, and a portrait of a family buried in lies. Sounds really interesting. And the final one I got was the one I was probably most excited for, because I checked out the publisher's things, and this was the one that I really wanted to get. And this was actually the Spin the Wheel from Harper, and it was I Am Not Jessica Chen by Anna Liang. This comes out in April next year. She is another established author, I believe, and this is about a girl called Jenna Chen who ends up, I think, accidentally body swapping or becoming her very like beautiful, successful, popular cousin called Jessica, which is the opposite of how she is. And yeah, she finds out that Jessica's life is perhaps not as charmed as she thought it was. And yeah, I just thought this one sounded interesting. The cover is gorgeous. So yeah, those were all the proofs I got. I was so happy, so excited to get all those, excited to read them as well. So finally, on to the actual books that I got at YALC. I came away with 26 books. I think it was 26, which is kind of insane. Getting them home was fun. Is all I'll say. So first we're going to start off with all the special editions that I got, then hardbacks and paperbacks. So I actually bought 3 books all from one store. They're books that I was all very interested in buying, and I probably wouldn't have bought them at this event if they hadn't have been special editions. Basically, these are all from Alisa's World. I did the little 4th wing thing that I got. So the first one I picked up is this one, which is actually part of a Kickstarter that they did. And this is The Society for Soulless Girls by Laura Stephen. It is gorgeous. They have these really nice sprayed edges, end papers as well. think it's the same on the back. And then under the dust jacket, they've done a totally new design. This is the original book, by the way. And they had colour choices. So you could either go for black or purple. And I picked purple, which is absolutely stunning. This was the first book I picked up. I was actually looking for their Girl Goddess Queen, and they only had one copy left, and I decided not to get it at this time because I think I need to actually finish reading the book first. Yeah, that was my first one. Absolutely no regret. This is absolutely gorgeous. And funnily enough, this is a misprint. All three of the books I got were misprints, and you can not really see where the issues are. The person that runs the stall is like apparently super picky about the books she paints, and the slightest like little issue that she has or error with it, she will not sell it for full price. So I got all of these books for £15 each, which is insane because it basically costs more to get them as standard hardbacks anyway. Yeah, you can see how the foiling on this is absolutely stunning. And then I got these two. I picked up Ava Reid's Lady Macbeth. This is standard apart from the fact that these two books have sprayed edges. So this one has kind of like a dark grey sprayed edge, and then it has this absolutely gorgeous sprayed edge here. Can you see the detail going on with this person's face? That is insane. It's so gorgeous. And I just can't wait to read it because I've loved everything that Ava Reid has written so far. And then I also picked up Heather Walters' new book, The Crimson Crown. She wrote Malice and Misrule. And I had a choice of edges for this one because I did either black or copper sprayed edges. So I went with copper because I just think it's really pretty. And then the side looks like this. Very pretty. Anyone that doesn't know, her other books were based on Sleeping Beauty. This one is based on Snow White, I believe. This is about the evil queen from Snow White. I think her book is sapphic because it usually always is. Really fun. I then picked up this book, which is one I wanted to actually get for a while. I've actually read this book, and this is Bitterthorn by Kat Dunn. This is just nothing too crazy about it, but I think it's really pretty. It does have end papers as well though, which is very nice. This is a sapphic dark fantasy kind of fairy tale, and I really enjoyed it. I think these were Illumicrate editions actually, but they were being sold on a different stall. I don't know, but they weren't very expensive, and I really wanted to buy this book anyway at some point. Anderson Press apparently have done this one. But yeah, it's really pretty, and I love this book. So I've actually been waiting to get a nice edition of the book because I think the ordinary edition is very boring. So yeah, finally got a hold of this. The next one was a Locked Library mystery box, essentially. They were selling their boxes off probably cheaper than real price, but you didn't know what you're going to get, essentially. They had a little display of the books that could be there. I think like one of the big ones they had was like special edition of When the Moon Hatched, which I obviously wasn't that bothered about, but I'm not mad about the one I got. And I got Moonstone by Laura Purcell, and I don't think it's had great reviews, but honestly the story sounds more up my alley than most of the other stuff they had. So because it is a gothic romance about a girl called Camille who is sent to live with her reclusive godmother and her strange daughter Lucy, and then there's some stuff going on with wolves, basically. Plain black on that, and then we've got this really nice like wolf howling like we have on the front here. And then I do believe, oh, there's more under the dust jacket as well. There we go. And yeah, we've got this. And we do have end papers as well, which is very nice. And then similar on the back, but persons and a wolf, which I suspect this is going into a like werewolf kind of thing. We've also got a nice little ribbon bookmark card here. You can just see it. So yeah, of all the ones I got, I'm not mad I got this one because it probably sounds like the most that I was interested in. They had the Silence Factory, which was one I was really interested in, but I do already own a copy of that. So yeah, I think I got lucky with my dip. I might not like this. I don't think it's got great reviews, but I'm also not mad that I got this compared to others I had. And the final one I got was basically there was this one store that specialized again in doing like special edition sprayed edges of books, and they were doing this like Christmas parcel thing where you could basically pick a random mystery book and open it. And this is very funny because I got A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J Maas. It's absolutely gorgeous edition, I will say. The funny thing is I once owned this book because I got it as a free like proof or something on a store, and I gave it away I think because I wasn't really super interested in it. But I am going to give Sarah J. Maas a chance, and even if I don't really like this book, this is an absolutely stunning edition. They do all her books, I think, in like these kind of editions, and yeah, it's really pretty, so I'm not mad about it. I just think it's really funny that it's an author that, one, I probably don't think I'm gonna like, but I am gonna try her, and it's a book that I did once used to own, but at least I now have a really pretty edition of it. Onto the hardbacks that I got now. Most of these I did buy. I will always prioritise buying hardbacks over paperbacks just because I find them easier to read when I've got hand issues. So here are the ones that I got. The first one I actually didn't buy. I actually won this in a giveaway over at the Inspiring Indies. I feel like not many people checked those out, which was kind of a shame. They were more interested in like the main publishers and the popular books, but I always like to check out indie authors, so I had a look at them all, and then they were just randomly doing giveaway, and the guy at the school just pointed at me and he was like, you win. So yeah, I won To Take a Soul by Sarah Sultane. This is, I think, also there's a really nice bookmark as well that comes with this. This is, I think this is a romantasy. She also signed it for me, bless her, because she was there. I think this is an Indian story. It's about a girl called Maya who meets Adam, a mysterious stranger she feels inexplicably drawn to, but he is no ordinary man. He belongs to this ancient order that steals human souls. Oh, there we go, Persian. Yeah, she learns she's a descendant of Persian witches, destined to stand against his order, so she must choose between embracing her fate or facing the wrath of her ancestors. Probably not something I would normally pick up, but the author was really nice. She was really sweet, so I'm not mad. And again, I was just really happy to win a giveaway, so I will definitely be trying this out, even if it's not my kind of thing. Then I picked up Most Ardently, which is currently in the Goodreads YA, like fiction awards at the moment. This is a Pride and Prejudice retelling that makes it trans and queer. This is part of like the Remix Classics series that I want to read all of them, to be honest. They all sound super interesting. They basically just like do different takes on typical sort of classic novels like Great Gatsby, Jekyll and Hyde, Romeo and Juliet, that kind of thing. They also had Self-Made Boys there, which was the Great Gatsby one, and I wish I picked that one up too. But yeah, really happy to read this. It's one I'm super interested in reading. And then this was a book that there was a competition for to win, like, I can't remember what it was. I think it was just like a sampler or it was something or other, but the book actually sounded quite interesting. It wasn't released yet. It was actually released early at YALC, and this is Darkly by Marisha Pessel. And this just sounded really interesting. So the whole game was to like find different things around the con, and I was going around anyway, so I did it. But this does sound really interesting, really cute end papers as well. And this is about a girl called Daya who has been obsessed with a games company called Darkly, but it has a cult following for its ingenious and utterly terrifying games. When an ad for an internship appears, Daya is chosen along with 6 other teenagers from around the world, and it is about a twisted game that they're all brought into. So yeah, I honestly thought it was like a romantasy or something from the cover, but this really sounds up my alley. So yeah, I'm excited to read this, to be honest. Okay, this was a book that I saw and straight away I was like, well, I have to buy it because I've not found it anywhere in hardback. And it's The Brightness Between Us by Elliot Scrafer. I loved the first book in this series, The Darkness Outside Us. This is a sequel, which I believe is set a little bit later on. 17 years have passed. And I won't tell you what this is about because, one, I don't necessarily know, and also spoilers. But this is basically, the first book is about these 2 guys that end up waking up on the spaceship with no memories of what they should be doing there, and they're kind of like on different sides of the bed, and they're not supposed to meet each other. Stuff happens and it gets really crazy and really sad and really emotional, and I loved it. So yeah, really happy to read the sequel. I'm excited to see where these characters are going next. And then because they basically were doing a deal where it was like you buy 2 and get a tote bag kind of thing, and I really wanted the tote bag, and I was interested in this book even though it's not one I don't know if I'm gonna like or not. But I picked up Us in Ruins by Rachel Moore, which is a gothic romance, I think. It's set in 1932. I believe it's got something to do with, I mean, this gives me she's falling in love with a statue, but I don't think that's exactly what it is. She finds the journal of a lost teenage explorer and kind of falls in love with him. which leads her to a statue that looks exactly like her, and then the statue comes to life. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it, but I am intrigued by it, and the cover is absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, I'll see if I like it or not, I guess. I then picked up the next book by Rose Black. She wrote Till Death Do Us Bar, which I loved. I gave it a 5-star. It was a gloriously queer, cute fantasy adventure, basically, with a cast of misfits characters, very T. Kingfisher, Fated Winds and Promising Seas. It's not the same characters, unfortunately, but I really enjoyed the first book. They write great queer fantasy. So yeah, I'm excited to check this one out. Next, this is just a book I really want to read. Everyone's been raving about it, and they had it in hardback, so I got Reprising, finally, by Pierce Brown. I'm dying to read this. Everyone is going crazy about this. And yeah, I was just really surprised to find it in hardback. It even has this really nice, like, under the dust jacket thing going on. It gives me motivation to finally get to it, I guess. And then the last ones I got, this one was a surprise for me, because I was just looking around the Disney Hyperion stall, and I didn't know that they were selling Buffy books. So as you know, I'm working, well, you might not know, but basically next year, in 2025, I am going to be doing a whole Buffy project where I'm reading a lot of the Buffy novels, and I guess I'm also going to be doing some spin-offs. And I found some of the spin-off novels that had come out fairly recently there, so I ended up picking up both of them, and also the first of a series. So we have The Bewitching Hour, which is a Tara prequel book, which I'm very excited by. Ashley Poston is an author I know of. I think she's a romance author, but just really excited because I love Tara so much. And then, of course, as soon as I saw this, I had to pick it up. This is a Spike prequel, Bloody Fool for Love by William Ritter. Yeah, just so excited to get these. I was not planning to buy this, but as soon as I saw it, I could not leave it behind. And the final hardback I got are actually from a specific publisher who I've been following for quite a while now, called Little Ghost Press. They predominantly do like queer YA sort of stories. I love the look of basically all of their stories. Probably will buy them all at some point, to be honest, but for this event at least, I just picked up 3. So the first one I picked up was a hardback called Wicked Little Things by Justin Arnold. It's giving horror, which was the whole reason why I picked it up. I hadn't actually seen them really advertising this one, but I didn't realise I picked up another book as well, and that happened to be by the same author, which is the new book that they're currently promoting. So I really hope I do like it, because yeah, I bought 2 books by the author now. This is about a creepy coven. It's about a boy called Dane who has recently been outed. And he ends up becoming the gay best friend to a trio of teenage witches. And his cousin has been killed, and they're going to try and help him find it, basically. And there is a rabbit-faced killer. Also, can we just say, it's stunning under the dust jacket as well. And honestly, the people that ran the store were so nice. They were so lovely. I was chatting to them for ages. And yeah, I really hope I like it, but it does look really fun. I also picked up, what's it called? Keep It in the Dark, which is the new book by this author. And this is like I think it's a vampire boarding school kind of thing. And it sounds really good, and it sounds very queer, and it's been getting a lot of hype, so I picked it up whilst I was there because I'm interested in it. And then the third book I got is This Pact Not Ours by Zachary Sergi. I love the cover for this so much, and I was really intrigued by this one from their social media. It's basically about a group of kids who are all friends, and then something happened, I think. Things are changing, basically, and they're desperate to make this summer the best one yet, even though there's like rifts between them all. And yeah, I don't really know anything about it in terms of the story otherwise, but it sounds like it's going to get mysterious and weird, judging by what's going on at the bottom here. And I don't want to know more than that, because I'm just really interested in this in general. So yeah, those were all the 3 books that I got from Little Ghost Press, and really excited. That's their little logo if you've not seen it before. But yeah, lovely people and great queer books. The last 3 books now. You know how I mentioned Buffy books? I didn't know this was a thing. So this is a whole series by someone called Kendare Blake, which basically follows Buffy's niece, who I assume is it Buffy's niece? No, I was told it was Buffy's niece. I don't think it is. It's actually following Willow's daughter, Frankie Rosenberg, and it's set like obviously in the future. Stuff happens, and I think a slayer shows up out of nowhere, and it just sounded really fun, and they were really like raving about it and saying it was really good. So this is In Every Generation. This is the first book in this series. I believe there are 3 at the moment, so I'll definitely be reading this next year along with the other Buffy books. I'm really intrigued as to where this will go, and it sounds like it could be really cool. But basically, from what I gather, it's a half witch, half slayer main character. The final books then, I picked up a copy of Apocalypse Cow. You'll see me rave about this in my October review wrap up, which probably isn't out yet. But I really, really loved this one. I met the author, and this was such a good time. Honestly, highly recommend it. So this was like the only Waterstones book I got in the end, was this one. And then the last book I got was The Witch Haven by Sarah Peyton Smith. And I went... Basically, this was a book I was not intending to buy. I went to the panel, which panel was it? I think it was the Darker Schools panel, which I went mostly because Jennifer Delaney was one of the authors in it, and this was another author there, and I just found her so charming. And the more she talked about her book, and the more interested it sounded. It's set in the 19th century in New York, and it is basically about a girl who gets sent to like a witch finishing school, actually in like masquerading as a tuberculosis clinic. And it's less of them being taught how to learn magic, but more because it's like Victorian times, it's about making them be small and protect themselves. And I feel like it's going to be a critique of that, and it just sounded super interesting, so I picked that up as well. And that is all the books that I got then, a crazy amount. I'm excited for every single one of them, honestly, and I think there was some great range of books there, basically. So I'm not going to try and hold them all on camera because it's way too many, but yeah, that's all of them. I hope you found this video interesting. I hope you picked up some good tips. Maybe you got some good book recommendations as well. I guess until the next video, stay safe, stay cozy, and I'll see you next time. Bye!